I love cartoons, but I also just love animation in general. I have loved this medium for a very long time, and something that's made me happy recently is the rise of indie animation. And this is a good thing for the animation industry because it finally gives people an opportunity to tell the stories that they want to tell. And I think one of the biggest examples of this very phenomenon happening is Hazbin Hotel. Hazbin Hotel is an indie animated adult series that is on Prime Video, but it started out as an animated pilot on YouTube, a pilot that I actually really like. I have been following this project since 2019, but the show came out this year and there's no in between. You either love this show or hate this show. Even if the fanbase sometimes scares me, I am not actually one who overly hates or overly loves this show, so let's get right into what I truly think of Hazbin Hotel. Let's start with the negatives before I get into my many positives with this show. I think my biggest problem with this show is its pacing in the first few episodes because while yes, the pilot is still mostly canon, you also have to reintroduce these characters for a new audience who weren't there for the pilot, and because of that, the first few episodes feel very awkward to sit through. Another issue I do have with this show is that I understand the criticisms for Divisive's writing when it comes to her humor and injecting it into her projects, and I think a lot of those criticisms are over-exaggerated, but I will admit there are a few jokes in the show that I don't think land very well. Not to say that there weren't any good jokes in this show at all, and there were a few moments that did make me laugh, but I do understand what some people criticize with her writing where it over-relies on swears or shock value for the humor. It doesn't do this all the time as much as people say, but there definitely are a few moments in the show where I'm like, that joke could have been better. And my final negative for the show is that even though they make the most of the 8 episodes they have, I feel like there's definitely some things they could have fleshed out more, maybe with some more episodes. Now let's get into my positives. For starters, I really love the music in this show. I'm not a big musical guy, but I'm confident enough to say that every song in this show is a fucking banger. All the songs really work well from a story perspective, and they all just sound really great. Another thing I really loved about this show was the cast of characters. I really liked the dynamic that every character had with each other. I think Angel Dust is really funny. I actually really like Keith David's performance as Husker. I think Charlie is a great main protagonist. Her personality is fun and bubbly, and I really like how the story really focuses on why she wants to redeem Sinner. She wants to save her people from extermination. I think that's really cool. And I really like Vaggie and Sir Pentious too. And we also can't forget about Alistair. He definitely steals the show. I think he's a very interesting character, and I can't wait to see what they do with him in the future. I also think the animation is really good. The pilot really showcased what could be possible with this art style and how they actually want to animate these characters, and the show does a good job of showing all of the progress they've made since the pilot. Everything feels fluid and fun. I love all the little hidden details that every character has. It is just such a good show from an animation perspective, and I genuinely find the animation just overall really cool and impressive, and I think it's easily one of the best things about this show. And the final thing I loved about this show was its story. Despite its pacing issues and me wanting to see more things from it, like the overlords and more fleshed out, I really did enjoy the story they were trying to tell. I really hope Charlie does achieve her goal of trying to redeem these sinners. I'm interested to see what they're actually trying to do with Alistair, if he's a villain or if he's really on Charlie's side. And I also love what they're doing with Heaven. I like how they portray Heaven and how its society works. I like how they portray the angels, and I'm really interested to see what they do with Lilith going forward. Overall, even though the story does have its issues and shortcomings, I still really enjoyed what they were doing here in Season 1. And those are my thoughts really on Hazbin Hotel. I think the show is just solid and not much else. It's not the best thing since sliced bread, and it's definitely not the worst thing ever like a lot of people say. It definitely could get better with time though, but for me right now, it's a 7 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed the video, and that's all I have to say. I'll see you in my next project.